right, everybody, welcome to Nerds of a Certain Vintage. As always, I am Patrick.
And I'm Andy.
And we are nerds. We're here for our midweek Jacent.
Midweek minute. Not the adjacent yet.
Min-Jacent. Min-Jacent.
The mid-Jacent. The mid-Jacent is what we're doing, yeah.
What are you drinking over there, Andy?
I'm having beer for a change.
Oh.
It's been a while since I had a beer.
Ruby
It's
Red
low carb beer. Ruby Redbird.
Okay.
By Shiner. It's decent.
And
with
it
ginger
tastes like,
and grapefruit.
All right, I'm
Tastes
not
like
sure.
a beer. I had lunch with my son today, and he got a Kona, Big Surf Ale or whatever it is, and I said, "Can I have it?" And I had a taste of it, and I was like, "Beer." I mean, how long has it been since I had beer? So I'm like, I'm having beer today, but it's low carb beer, so I'm not. I'm still trying to stick with the.
I get it, man.
Thing.
I don't want the podcast to get in your health journey in the way.
Oh. Even low carb beer.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Well, I have an O'Doul's.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Is it a non-alcoholic?
This is, of course, a non-alcoholic.
Oh, are
it's
you
July.
doing? You said you were thinking of not doing the non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I was thinking, but I actually didn't put anything in the fridge. So here's the like.
It may just be 4th of July non-alcoholic.
Right. Maybe I'll do I don't know.
You can do what I'm doing and not drink except during the podcast.
I'm thinking that's what we should do, or what I should do, which means we need to podcast 4 days a week.
I'm down. I'm down for that. That works for me.
So yes, this is our midweek minute, slightly late 4th of July edition.
That's right. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Happy 4th of July. By the way, so this is where we talk about news and Perviews. I'm going to dive a little bit into Whoopa here for just a second.
Sure. Feel free.
So my parents and my sister and her husband came over yesterday. And I made pizzas, and we were like hanging out.
Nice.
It was a nice night, so we were eating outside. My sister, who's a little bit older than me, but not a lot, tells me, "Hey, by the way, I got Mom set up on your podcast."
So now we have to watch our language.
And I'm like, "What are you doing? I can't do that. Like, this is crazy. Like, I can't start watching what I say."
Does your sister listen to the podcast?
No, she says she's not nerdy enough for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So probably not.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to say, "Hey, you should introduce me to this Andy guy. He sounds handsome."
Well, her husband's asking, like, I just go out there and he's like, "Hey, so how's Andy doing?" I was like, apparently they were sitting there listening to our Whoopa, can we get any cheesesteaks in this area?
Oh, okay.
That Whoopa. And I was like, you don't understand, the Whoopa is the skippable episode.
That's a recent one, man. They were listening to the recent one.
Yeah,
they were like, "We're going to visit, we better listen, start to see what's going on." I'm pretty sure my family does the same thing. Like, they listen occasionally just to see what's up with me, because I don't call anybody. I don't stay in touch with anybody, so.
I'm just, like, I'm a little bit weirded out knowing that I know people. Like, Jerry.
Jerry's a
I
friend.
appreciate you.
Yeah, Jerry's a nerd like us. Yeah. Jerry's not going to be offended by our ridiculousn's.
Yes.
I mean, maybe a little.
Probably.
Yeah, he'll forgive us, though.
It just means I have to talk less smack about my mother. Hi, Mom.
You don't talk smack about your mother. You're nothing but complimentary about your mother. Wink, wink. See how I'm coming.
Nice looking out, brother.
I can't recall a single time you said anything poorly about your mother.
Yes, of course.
Me, on the other hand,
you talk about my mother all the time.
Nicely done. That's very true.
All right, so this is our podcast where we talk about news and Perviews. Mm-hmm. Any Perviews you watch? Any Perviews?
Oh, I saw so many Perviews. Some of them were the ones that you had already mentioned from before. The Union.
Oh, yes.
Looks cool.
Yeah.
That looks like, a lot of those Mark Wahlberg movies.
Yeah.
Like the one where he was the ex-hitman selling cars and got pulled back into the life.
Yeah.
That one was clearly made for streaming. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem big enough or flashy enough to be in the theaters. It looked like it was made. It's like a made for television.
You also have to look at who's the other stars in the movie, and that had I think it was Bridget Moynihan and
right.
They were B tier other actors.
Right. No, and this one's got Halle Berry and all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm buying that they were high school sweethearts, but okay, I'm willing to overlook that.
Well,
but
Halle Berry may have I don't know.
Yeah.
She might have blossomed after high school. Some people do that.
Some people do that, and I said do. But it looked like a ton of fun, like action-packed, good premise.
Yes.
They give him some training. It looked cool. I'm down for it.
Yeah, and it looked like he could actually hold his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he even in high school he was in good shape.
Of course.
Hallie will tell you that.
Yeah.
So
why wouldn't you?
But the one I wanted to talk to you about is the Decameron season 1.
Yes.
Did you see this?
I did. Are you looking forward to it?
Not my Decameron. Like they're just all like getting drunk, and it seemed just like an orgy sort of thing. And I was like, this was
that was the subtext of the book.
Clearly, I missed the subtext. I might have read more of it had I picked up that subtext.
Yes.
I was like, this is like Victorian age during the plague or something, right?
Yes.
And they were just getting out of town. Their idea of going out and having a party is not what is represented in this season 1.
I mean, listen, they've got Bridgerton to compete against, and they've got all of those sexy time shows. So of course they got to throw some. But I did get the sense that there was a little bit of sexy time, like in the book. It was just, I remember thinking, there's some stuff going on there.
I don't know.
There's some stuff going on.
I guess I need to read further along. I read through the first 5 or 6.
Well, that last chapter, man, was all about the porn.
Was it? See? Yeah, I really don't remember. You put that on the last chapters. Now you got to read the whole book to get to the porn part.
Yeah.
I can skip to the end, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I read the first maybe 2 days of their storytelling.
Right.
So I didn't really get through the whole book because I was like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I get what this is about.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
I could get it.
But if I become a novelist when I retire and I need, fodder for books, I will just steal those stories. It's not like anyone else.
Nobody else has read them.
No one's read them. Yeah. They're prime for
I'll
thievery.
be right there saying, hey!
Prime for thievery.
Yes.
Hey, this guy fell off a plank into muck in the alleyway. I remember when that happened.
That's right.
Decameron.
I will absolutely be there. I'll be holding your feet to the fire.
Off the plank where people poop off of. So it's so great.
The poop plank.
The poop plank, yeah.
Yes.
So people didn't have to go downstairs. They just walked out the window on a plank.
Why would you want to go
over
downstairs?
the side and had a poop.
You wouldn't want to go downstairs. That's where
right.
the poop is.
That's the only alley you can walk through and know you're not going to get mugged.
You might get mugged in a different way.
Exactly.
Munch from above!
Something else might happen.
Yes.
And I saw the Terminator anime, which you mentioned, but that it's so ridiculous when you get a teaser trailer like that has absolutely no animation in it. It shows you not a single picture. It's just Japanese symbols and Terminator the anime and the music, and I'm like, this is when you know that this is a known and very popular property. Like they don't even have to show you anything. They're just like, hey, you know the Terminator and you love it.
They could show you like just one of the skulls or something. Like, just a boot on a skull crushing it under a tire. That's all you really need.
Some gym bro with a square head and red eyes, and you know what that is, right? And maybe you get some sunglasses, and you're just like, okay, Terminator, I got it.
Gym bro with the sunglasses.
Gym bro with the square head. That's what you need. And then I watched My Spy: Eternal City. Are you familiar with My Spy?
No.
My Spy was the Dave Bautista movie where he ends up having to take care of this little girl, and they're doing a sequel.
Okay.
It looks cool.
Must have been fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Scott.
That skipped right off of my consciousness.
Yeah. It's got Dr.
Doom?
No. Who's the
House?
Is he Korean or Vietnamese? The comedian.
Oh.
From The Hangover.
Kim Jong.
Yeah. Dr. Kim Jong. So I guess he's Korean. He's in it.
You would know.
I would know more than others.
Let's see. Kim Jong.
Dr. Kin. So.
Yeah. Ken Jeong.
I'm having a sip of delicious beer. Give me a second.
He's an American.
Well, he is an American. I'm talking
just
about
saying.
his
Wikipedia
family background, right?
Yes.
But anyway, you'll notice we just talking about like the second set of cast members. What tier are they?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, these are a little bit higher tier. So, he plays.
What is the name of this?
Dave Bautista, My Spy. Dave Bautista is now sort of retired from the spy game. He's still part of the intelligence agency, but now he just does logistics. He does in the office stuff,
right?
And he's taking care of this little girl and excelling at it and baking scones and whatnot. And he's been training this little girl to be a spy one day herself.
Well, that's what you do.
Right? Well, it's because it's what you want. So he's sort of training her, and then her school is going on a field trip. Her class going on a field trip to Italy. So he volunteers as a chaperone.
Why wouldn't you?
And while he's over there, spy shenanigans take place, and he gets pulled back into the game. As with her, and with Dr. Kin's son is also along for the ride. He's obviously the love interest for the girl. But there were some. It's one of those trailers, like, it's a comedy, obviously.
Of course.
And you're like, I mean, I'm watching the trailer and laughing at a bunch of the stuff in the trailer. And I'm like, is this one of the things where they put all the jokes in the trailer? Because if they didn't, if they only put like a couple of jokes,
this is going to be a fantastic
This is going to be
movie.
a really fun flick. So I was like, now I got to go see that first one. But
where is that, though?
My Spy is on something. It's got to be on streaming.
Streaming.
It wasn't like a huge hit, but I mean, it was not really popular.
Streaming My Spy. Apparently, you can get it on Amazon and Hulu.
All right.
And TNT. You can get it TNT.
Yeah, but that's like old school TV where you have to figure out what the schedule is. Is it playing at 9? I better be free at 9 so I can see it.
Well, this has got Anna Faris and Craig Robinson in it.
Craig Robinson, that's right. Yeah. There's a bit in the trailer.
Kristen Schaal. I like Kristen Schaal.
Yeah. She's
always funny.
Yeah. There's a scene where she and Dr. Kin have to pretend to be like they're caught by the bad guys, guns out, and they're like, "Who is she?" And he was like, "She's my wife." And then she like lays a tongue kiss on her. She's like, and he's just like, "What happened?" It was very funny. But there's a bit with Craig Robinson where Dave Bautista's character has been baking scones, and he brings him into the office because now he's a intelligence jock, and Craig Robinson is like, "Great job, man." And he's like, he's like, "Thank, I'm working hard." He's like, "No, I'm talking about the scones." At first, I was disappointed when it was raisins instead of chocolate chips, but by the fourth bite, I was like, "Man, he nailed it!" They're like, it was, it was a funny little bit. So I'm like, this looks like a fun movie. Now I have to watch the first one.
That's right. Well, it's available.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, I heard, and I'm trying to see if this is true or not.
What did you hear? I can't believe anything you say.
I heard that the beekeeper originally had a different name. I'm trying to see if this is true or not.
Was it the oyster farmer? Okay, what could it be?
It was originally supposed to be called the Beequalizer.
Please don't tell me things like that. I'm not surprised, but
that's an IMDb trivia thing, though. So who knows?
Ridiculous.
The Beequalizer.
So dumb.
It's not dumb, but it's funny.
It would have been dumb if that was the name
Absolutely.
of it. Yeah.
We still would have loved it. If nothing else about that movie had changed.
That's the thing. And not to dip into the news, but I think that movie ended up making $152 million. Beekeeper. So
let's see.
So the chances of sequels are,
good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see. Box office mojo.
Yeah.
I wonder if
I haven't gotten to my purview of the De La Settimana.
Okay, what's that?
They had a sequel.
$152 million.
Yeah, they had a sequel. They had a trailer on one of the nerd sites. Hellboy: The Crooked Man.
Is this animated?
No, live action. They talked about it.
Really?
In fact, I talked about it.
With what's his name?
It's not with. It's a new
knockoff.
No, I mean it's Hellboy, and it's definitely Hellboy. So it's obviously a sort of licensed production, but it's a smaller movie rather than being this end of the world crap that they always insist on doing. It's like a straight horror film where he's investigating because his premise in the comics is the world's greatest paranormal investigator.
Right.
So he's going out to investigate weird stuff happening in this particular area, and there's a legend of the Crooked Man. So the trailer is very much a sort of smaller budget film with a lot of horror elements.
All right.
I'm down to see it. It's supposed to be a younger Hellboy. He's not quite as big and buff.
He's got a good look for him.
Yeah,
the actor. I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah, he's decent. He's not 100%, but I'm so wanting a good Hellboy product that I'm looking forward to seeing. The trailer looked cool.
Releases September 19th.
Yeah, coming right out.
I know what we're doing in September.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll last till October, till Halloween, but
no.
I don't know if it should be part of Monstober.
No, we got
Monstober. We watch all the Hellboy movies.
Well, I watched a bunch of Perviews on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I saw that beer is going down so fast and easy and delicious.
Yeah.
And it's not even like great beer. It's low carb beer.
Hey, the first beer you have in quite a while is a pretty good beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason YouTube seems to have like a lot more Perviews than IMDb has had recently.
Well, once again, it's everything's crooked. You know,
Yeah.
IMDb, they're paying them off. They're only putting the ones on that are throwing down the cash. YouTube puts everything on.
I saw,
unless Republicans put it out.
I saw something called Bando Stone in the New World. This is a Childish Gambino movie. And it's basically the end of the world, and Donald Glover plays Childish Gambino,
right?
And he he wakes up and like nobody's around, and so he goes out and he's wandering the world, and he runs across this woman and and her daughter, and she's a badass, and like she's taking care of stuff, and he's like, what can I tag along with you guys? And she's like, I don't know, can you start a fire? Can you do this? And he's like, I can sing. So it seems...
She's like, great, you can be the entertainment.
Yeah, but the other one that I saw is called Jackpot. Did you see Jackpot?
Mm-mm.
This is John Cena and Aquafina.
Okay.
Aquafina wins some lottery, right? And the way the lottery works is that the winner wins, but anybody who can kill the winner within 24 hours gets the money.
What dystopian future is this lottery a part of?
I don't know. But so John Cena comes to her rescue to try to save her.
He becomes like her security guard to protect her from the killers.
Yeah.
So this is essentially Guns Akimbo.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it looked silly. It looked it looked for all I could it. I don't know how these movies come out and we haven't heard about them. You know, these are the kinds of movies that they just pop up like they're weeds. They pop up out of the streets we drive on.
Potentially, they are trying to save money by not advertising these movies. I'm not sure that
works out.
Game. Well, if they use social media better, things like YouTube are a great resource because how much does it cost to get something on YouTube? But then once again, how do you make it viral? How do you get people to watch it? I mean, obviously at IMDb, you got to throw down the big bucks just to get it on the platform. Those sons of bitches.
Jackpot release August 15th, 2024.
Yeah.
Set in a very near future where Grant Lottery has been founded in economically struggling California. So there you go.
Yeah. It's making more sense all the time, really.
The only caveat, if you want to legitimately claim the award, you must murder the winner before sunset. And so Aquafina is the winner. And so she
it seems like a lottery you're not really sure you want to win, man.
Well, if you can survive until sunset.
Well, it's like the Purge. It's like every night when the lottery goes on, everybody's like locking themselves into safes and things. Yeah.
And you're living in San Diego. You're like, fuck, they won in Sacramento this week.
I've rented a bank vault. How much oxygen is in there? I hope it's 24 hours.
No, someone just sets like a big fire around it.
Yeah,
There you go. There's always a way.
But they bake you in
I
there.
think way too much about
baked Aquafina.
That's what.
Sounds like a dessert.
Yeah, it does sound like a
dessert.
Sounds like yes. There's probably bananas in it.
Would I eat a baked Aquafina? Maybe.
Probably. It does sound like something.
It does sound like something I would do. Nah, but maybe.
Did it. That's a great callback. I need to watch that movie again. That's a movie I should have seen like on a plane. Like I should have downloaded it on an iPad.
Can you imagine you on a plane sitting there laughing with your earphones and people are like, what the hell is that
I look over and there's a big dong on the window.
People are calling the
Sorry,
marshal.
Mom.
People are calling the marshal on you. There's a weirdo like just laughing his ass off in row 4.
Yes. All right. Well, yeah. So I guess I would give it to Jackpot as my Perviews de la Settimana.
Take a look. It sounds ridiculous. Obviously, I'm going with Hellboy the Crooked Man.
Of course. Yeah. Yes. I like if I'd seen that, I would have known that.
But I will say the My Spy was an effective trailer. Like I had no interest in that initial movie, but now I'm watching the sequel, going, I'm gonna go back and watch that first movie because this looks like it's gonna be really fun. So you never know.
Well, you never know. You never know.
I never know. I never know. I don't pay much attention. That's why.
Yeah, I would have gone to see a movie called The Bequalizer, though.
The Bequalizer? No, I wouldn't have. No.
Yes, you would have.
No.
With him in it, you'd have been like, yeah, I guess.
I'd be like, where's Denzel Washington in the Bee outfit? This is just an absolute rip.
Yes.
So sus.
Yes.
But and other other slang terms that young people use.
Yes. Yeah. Rizzler.
Rizzler. I don't even know what that means, but I like the sound of it.
It's someone with Riz.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Riz, of course. Yeah.
All right, you want to move to news?
And
The news
just
part
for
of
the
this?
viewers at home, I know what Riz means. Yeah, charisma.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right, good.
I got it.
All right. You want? I listen. I have a listicle to rile you up, but let's
You
give
wanna end with
that a second.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't
we'll
be
go through
riled
a
up
little bit.
early. Yeah.
No.
then like all the news you read, I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
stupid Disney.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
So do you have any news?
A couple of things. There is an Indian movie out that has broken records. And
Are you talking about Kill?
Kalki,
Kalki.
2898 AD. It's a science fiction picture.
No, this is different from what I'm talking about.
Okay, this guy comes back apparently as the reincarnation of Vishnu, superhero kind of thing, I guess.
All right.
And it made it had a 75 million budget, made 66 million
Sorry.
worldwide its first weekend, which is more than RRR.
Uh-huh.
So, they're expecting it to do
Kalki. How do you spell that?
Kalki.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: it's in Telugu. It's not
Not
not in Hindi, so it's not a Bollywood film.
It's
They call it a Tollywood film.
Hollywood.
Yeah, apparently there's competing wood in India.
There's always competing wood.
Competing wood, man.
Yeah.
You got to watch out.
That was my nickname in high school.
That was my stripper name.
Yeah. I was reading about this movie called Kill, which is supposed to be the most violent film, like Indian film ever.
Okay.
Yeah. When an army commando, Amrit, finds out his true love, Tulika, is engaged against her will, he boards a new Delhi-bound train in a daring quest to derail the arranged marriage. But when a gang of knife-wielding thieves, led by the ruthless Fani, begins to terrorize innocent passengers on his train, Amrit takes them on himself in a death-defying kill spree to save those around him, turning what should have been a typical commute into an adrenaline-fueled thrill ride.
Wow. Yeah. It sounds like Raid Redemption, except on a train.
Yeah, it also sounds like that other train movie that we were just watching. What is it with Brad Pitt?
Oh yeah, Money Train.
What? Was it Money Train?
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train. Sorry.
Yeah.
Money Train is an old.
A different.
Isn't it that old movie with
Wesley Snipes?
Wesley
wasn't it?
Snipes
Yeah.
and
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson, I think so.
Yeah, their follow-up to White Men Can't Jump, right?
You're right. Quickly forgotten.
Why do we remember these things? Good Lord.
No, that sounds like fun. Except that I'm. It seems discontinuous that he's going to stop her arranged marriage, and he just happens to get on a train full of knife-wielding gang members. Like, is there some indication that are they
somehow
on the train because they know he's on the train and they're trying to stop him, or is this just wild coincidence? I don't like wild coincidence.
Yes, I don't know.
It's bad writing, but if it's a adrenaline-fueled murder spree, I think I'll give it a pass. I'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, the movie's called Kill, so.
It's a contrived premise. I love it.
Yes, Lord.
Did you see the first image of Hawk Girl and Guy Gardner?
I did.
What do you
Guy
think?
Gardner's hair is spot on. Chef's kiss. Mwah!
Yeah, the costumes are a little, but once again, there's a lot of
they touch that stuff up and like
probably so because they look bulky.
There's no
look
like
baggy.
seams and stuff. But,
Yeah.
all the the bubbles and stuff that they do, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, they talked a lot about how Superman's costume looked a little bit sort of not form-fitting.
Yes,
And I'm absolutely fine with that because that always seemed a weird premise of the comic books, a weird trope of the comics, that they were always skin tight. Now I get it. I liked watching the art, looking at the art in the comic books because of the muscles that were everywhere and the
it makes no sense that Superman has muscles, but it's all right.
the female curves. Why not?
Why not?
Because he's super strong and so he doesn't have to hypertrophy, right?
Correct.
Yeah. No, I get your premise, but
that's not even where his strength comes from. Are you saying that he's filled with the power of the battery's sun, and it just bulks him up?
It swells up his muscles, probably. So that was the premise in the Lois and Clark, or not the Lois and Clark. The Lois and Clark, the one with Dean Cain.
Oh, yeah.
When he first shows up in Metropolis in like the first episode, his refrigerator is full of junk food and garbage, but he looks like he walked right out of like a runway model set. It's just that Kryptonians are like muscle bound. That's just how they look, no matter what they eat.
All right.
Just based on the sun's, I don't know,
That's
energies
me.
or something.
Maybe
Huh?
I'm Kryptonian.
I think you are.
Yeah.
That's why you wear these baggy patch shirts.
That's right. I don't want to show off.
You
too
want to
much.
hide that perfect physique.
Yeah.
I get
I
it.
don't want to show off.
Not me, son.
So apparently, Brendan Gleeson has joined Spider-Man Noir in a villainous role.
Oh yeah? What do you think? Do you think in
I think he could be a Doc Ock.
do you think in Spider-Man Noir they're going to do sort of noir versions
of course,
of the Rogues Gallery? Probably so.
So who else would he be?
Can you? I'm wondering how you do noir versions of Doc Ock and Green Goblin and stuff like that. Is he Grey Goblin?
No. Off black.
Is he Black and White Goblin?
Yes.
I think he's Black and White Goblin. But yeah,
He could be a. I think physically he's just he's
more of a Doc
Ock.
Ock. Gotcha.
Maybe a Vulture.
Vulture, yeah. Vulture would be a good noir villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Death from Above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Maltese Vulture.
That's right.
Vulture.
Yeah. Can you think of anybody else that he could be? Craven. He could be Craven.
Why not Craven?
Absolutely.
Actually, the sky's the limit. Rhino.
Yeah, put that guy in a mech suit.
That's right.
Call him the Rhino.
No, the mech suit was a misfire. There's no mech suit.
What are you talking about? Mech suits go with noir easily.
You put him in a suit, an indestructible skin that he can't get off, so he can't pee or poop anymore.
Well, that's just where his muscles come from.
That's right. The suit feeds off that.
Yes.
Like a Dune still suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of your favorites.
Here's sad news.
I'm just going in circles, in nerd circles, round and round.
Do you want some sad news?
What's some sad news?
Apparently Neil Gaiman has been accused of assaulting 2 women.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Well,
that guy is so absurdly progressive. He would never assault 2 women. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would volunteer. He would ask them if they wanted to walk on him, maybe. But I don't think he would assault them.
Well,
and I don't think he would mean it in a sexual way. I think he would mean it in a self-deprecating.
Yes.
Please, I'm a horrible white male. Please beat the shit out of me, kind of way. That's what I think. Yeah.
Well,
I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it, man.
Only time will tell. But apparently, one of the women who's
Please tell me more about this because I'm going to poke holes in it. That's just how I will do.
2 young women have accused prolific author and comic book writer Neil Gaiman of sexual assault, with one being a nanny to his children and the other a fan.
I've seen many interviews with this guy.
Yeah.
I've heard his comments on the properties that have been made from his work, and I love him as an author. Yeah. But he seems kind of like an idiot, as far as his leanings. He just doesn't seem the type that, number one, is necessarily very sexual.
Yeah.
Number two, that would, in any way try to, victimize women. I just don't see it.
Well, you never know people. That's the thing. You can never know people. So I'll let the justice lead.
Well, this is the thing. I keep thinking about Louis C.K.
Yeah.
And I've said before, like those women are like, oh, he's this famous comedian and he invited us to his room, and when we got there, he asked if he could take his clothes off in front of us, and we were so I don't know, oppressed by how famous he is that we told him yes, that's fine, and now we feel like we've been, whatever, we've been assaulted, and I'm just like, that is such a load of garbage. Like a guy who, if that's his kink, how are you gonna have that kink? How are you gonna use that kink except for inviting women to your room and asking them nicely, can you do it?
Right.
And they're like, but that's assault. No, that's not assault. That's ridiculous. But so
did he ever end up getting did
he got canceled? Yeah.
Canceled is different from jail time. I'm talking about jail time.
No. I mean, he had to apologize for, number one, something that I don't think there's any reason to apologize for, and I think he probably paid some kind of restitution. It was just the most ridiculous thing.
Listen, whether you think he should have or shouldn't have, whether I think he should have or shouldn't have, Like he thought he should have.
No,
like,
no,
whether it was to save his career or whatever.
That was it, exactly. It was during the cancel culture, and he was like, I got to get out from under this. I'll admit to wrongdoing, even though I didn't do anything wrong. And you get in a system like that. So once again, Neil Gaiman, I don't know what he did.
Neil Gaiman says that his relationships with the women were consensual.
Oh,
so he admits that there were sexual relationships. But
right.
He says they were consensual.
Well, that's problematic because the guy's married, but I don't know what's going on with his wife. I don't really pay much attention. So I mean, if they're separated, then whatever. But number one, never with the nanny, man. Never.
Yeah,
It's a bad idea.
Bad look. So yeah, but apparently this is all happening in New Zealand. So the New Zealand police are investigating Neil Gaiman.
You know what? I love it.
Let's see. What else? 7 ways James Gunn's Superman has already beaten Zack Snyder's Man of Steel.
I read this. I read this thing. Yeah,
is this a listicle that might rile us up?
Well, to some degree, I agree with some, and the others are just ridiculous. But
the costume is better. Until I see the costume on the big screen, I'm not saying one way or the other.
Well, I think, and what he said is that Zack Snyder's costume was obviously had padding in it to make him look even more muscular than he already is.
Okay.
And it made him look swollen and weird looking, which I don't know that that's true, but I also don't know that they needed pads in the thing. I mean, Cavill was
he's a jack
ripped.
dude.
Yeah. So there's something to that, and as we said in just a minute ago, I don't have anything against the costume being a little bit more, like, less form-fitting and more, I don't know, struck like
this is something
for regular use, I guess.
This is something that Marvel has done pretty well. Like they've made their costumes more, like we keep talking about Captain America's costume being like kind of the ideal superhero costume. It's like
not even ideal.
You know.
But the fact that they were able to mix in the original and it not be ridiculous, even though inherently it's a ridiculous costume.
Yeah. Well, he's got a DA on his head.
Yeah, exactly. And they had wings and stuff. But the fact that they made it the way that they did it worked out. But you're right. Most of the costumes in Marvel were pretty comic accurate and didn't look ridiculous. They did a very nice job with it.
Yeah.
But once again, I don't necessarily mind the Batman costumes that have been represented, except for obviously the Keaton one where you can't turn your head. That's ridiculous. But whatever.
I'm looking at the pictures of Guy Gardner. That guy, man.
But that's the thing of all the costumes. Yeah, his hair, but that it's not a Green Lantern costume. In all honesty, I almost wish they did the Guy Gardner costume with the double-breasted thing that he used to wear.
Yeah, I can see that.
Over, like the old-fashioned cereal sort of thing.
I kind of dig that,
but I don't know. I'll see what it looks like. That one picture is not enough for me to judge it.
Yeah,
it's all white.
None of these. I do like the
Hawk Girl. A lot of white and not a lot of green. That's what's weird.
Yeah. Well, they can color match that stuff. Like, they can do all kinds of.
You're okay.
Nice job. Magic.
Nice job defending.
Who knows what it'll look like at the end?
That's very true, though.
I do like Hawk Girl's mace, though. Like that thing looks hefty. It looks like it could do some damage.
Yeah, and it should.
All right.
I feel like Hawkman gets short shrift in these things, but
well,
I appreciate.
He's a jackass.
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else? It's all boys and acolyte news.
There was something else that there was a ton of that I was like not really that interested in. Just a little news for your wife. Adidas is got a new contract collaboration with Hello Kitty, and they're producing more sizes for women. So I want you to keep an eye out for the Adidas Hello Kitty shoes, because I think your wife would love a pair of those.
All right.
You don't think so?
I'll tell you a story. All right. Very early in my relationship with Vanya, on her birthday, I took her skydiving. Mm-hmm. Right. I knew that she wanted to go skydiving, and so, but I kept it a secret from her. And so I told her, I have plans for you, but you have to dress comfortably and you have to wear sneakers. She was very angry that she had to wear sneakers on her birthday. She thought I was taking her away to an Airbnb or like well, back then it would have been just a B&B.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But so like she still talks about having to wear sneakers. And so I don't think Hello Kitty sneakers are going
They
to
would just be a collectible. She'd put them on a shelf. And
I
go,
don't
those are
think
cool.
that.
I will never wear this. She doesn't like sneakers?
She does not like to wear sneakers.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did she think of the skydiving?
She loved it. Yeah, she had a blast.
People are freaking crazy.
Skydiving's fun.
Yeah, Rod Fitzville on the radio is always talking about how great skydiving is, and I'm like, okay, you enjoy yourself. All I ever think of, I feel the same way in my job when I have motorcycle claims where motorcyclists, sadly, tragically, they get killed or injured, usually because they're going at like 100 miles an hour on a back road.
Yeah.
And all I think, tragic as it is play stupid games and win stupid prizes. So I feel the same way about skydiving. I'm like, I don't understand it.
Well, things go right sometimes.
They usually go right with skydiving. At least you have professionals that are packing your bag and all that, your parachute. But the one time, one time it's not right. That's a bad day, right?
Well, it's a bad day for anyone that's underneath you. For you, it's a very short day.
No. I think it's the longest day of your life all the way down. You know.
You live your entire life in those.
As soon as that parachute doesn't open, all the way down, it's just counting down.
Yeah.
Do you turn around so your back is to the ground? What would you do?
I would point straight down. I would just say, if it's going to be this way, I'm going to make the biggest hole I can.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All right. Battlestar Galactica reboot. I don't think that's actually going to happen.
I'm not sure why you would. Obviously, the first one was very brief. It didn't really... Yeah. It was very popular as far as it goes, but it just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, this is just bullshit. Sorry, this is
the second... And then the one that they did that was like, what, 3 or 4 seasons? Was that on Sci-Fi, the remake?
Yes.
And that thing was fantastic. It got a little soap opera and melodramatic, but it was one of my wife's favorite series, and she still sees like actors on other things or on soap operas, and she's like, he got shot out of an airlock on Battlestar Galactica. Like every time she sees him, and she did it to me about 10 times, and then one time she was like, you see that guy? And I said, yeah, he got shot out of an airlock on Battlestar Galactica, and she realized that she'd been doing it. She doesn't remember that she does it over and over again. And she's like, have I told you that before? And I'm like, oh yes, many times. So now she does it just to get on my nerves. Now she just is like, hey, remember, see that guy?
Well, let me get on your nerves a little bit. All right, I got an article. Game of Thrones final season did one thing right that fans refuse to admit.
Okay.
What do you think?
Oh, I think that's bullshit, but I'm more than happy to entertain it.
Well, here's the one thing. Like, I've been softer on that final season than you have.
Oh,
this is the one thing.
There is no question about that, man.
This is the one thing that I think they absolutely 100% did wrong. Like, this is the
thing that he says that they did right?
Yes. So here's the thing. It's got this summary of the article. Okay. I'm going to read the 3 bullet points.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones had 2 major conflicts to contend with for life and for the throne.
Right.
Second bullet. The show ended with the battle for the crown rather than with the White Walkers. Third bullet. The controversial choice was the right one to tie up loose ends. That's bullshit. Like, that's absolute bullshit. They should have ended with the White Walkers. That's the bigger story arc. Like, just conceptually, one is a battle for survival,
right,
and another is a political battle. Like, you end with the biggest thing, right? Like, they call it a denouement,
right,
for a reason.
Denouement, I think.
Denouement, yeah, sorry. So this guy's trying to defend the fact that they ended with the personal battle rather than the White Walkers. And it's bullshit.
I feel like I kind of agree with you, and they probably did it on that show because of the expense. Because the whole premise throughout the story was winter is coming.
Yeah.
Winter is coming. So winter should have come, and that entire area, including what do they call it? Dragon's whatever. What is the capital's name? Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. Red Castle,
the Red Keep.
Or whatever.
It's the Red Keep or whatever. But like winter should have spread all the way down, and everything should have been encased in ice, and then they should have had the big battle at the capital or whatever.
Yeah.
But
they didn't.
No, they didn't do anything right.
So do you think that's what will happen in the books?
there's not going to be any more books.
You're like, you dummy. It's so funny that you think that there's going to be books.
You think Martin's going to finish writing anything?
How about this? 10 TV actors who dislike their most famous roles.
That guy's gonna drop dead, and L. Sprague, the camp's gonna finish writing all this shit. So
they'll bring in whatever his name is, the guy who finished
Lynn Carter and L. Sprague, the camp. Do you get that reference?
No, I don't know.
Robert E. Howard famously committed suicide after his mother died, and he had written a lot of Conan stories, but he'd left a lot of sort of manuscripts and half-finished stuff. And L. Sprague, the camp, and Lynn Carter, like writers that went through all of that stuff and wrote a bunch of original stories to kind of round out the entire mythos of Conan. So this is a group that it's almost like the Wheel of Time books.
Yeah.
You know, they were picked
That's
up.
the guy who I was going to say.
Well, Brandon Sanderson was handpicked by that family, but L. Sprague de Camp and Lynn Carter like just picked it up.
and said, we're doing this now.
Yeah, we're gonna finish these. We're gonna take some stories that had other heroes and make them Conan stories, and so there's a bunch of that stuff. So that's what that reference is. Sorry, nerding out over here.
It's all right. Lord, what is going on? All right, so I
probably mispronounced his name. It's probably El Sprague the camp. You know, I don't know.
Well, yeah, probably.
His mother is mean to name him that.
Hold on a second. Explore the content. I'm going to tell you. I absolutely. I did something I thought I would never do.
What's that?
I signed up for an account to one of these websites so that I could read some of these articles.
Screen Rant.
Screen
Rant's the one that always blocks me, and I'm just like, screw you guys.
There's
I'm like, F that guy then. You know, I don't care enough. This is gonna be on one of the other sites. So why would I pay you to watch this? Or you don't pay them, but you sign up for stuff.
Well, I had to do it for this because I figure it's about time for us to start clearing this up. But I had to for the purposes of this conversation because I needed to read this particular article.
You needed to.
Yes. 10 wildest Star Wars controversies since Disney bought the franchise.
10 Star Wars Okay.
Oh no, the wildest.
Of course, it's the wildest. Is the impression on this is that I can't believe that the fans are upset about this kind of thing, or is it that
it's a little bit it's a little bit like poking fun at some of these things. Like I can't believe that. Like you'll get a sense of it. Like, okay. So like people complain about Luke Skywalker had complicated feelings in The Last Jedi, that kind of things. Many were disappointed to see that Luke had fallen so far from the heights he'd reached at the end of Return of the Jedi, but the plot line begins in Star Wars The Force Awakens and continued in Star Wars The Last Jedi isn't as egregious as it's made out to be.
So this is a defense thing. You know, the more that I think about that, the reason I think that kind of thing upset fans, and it upsets me except they fuck up the Force all the time. The concept of it is that I had said many times that nobody really conceives of it the way that it should be. The Jedi are the people who spend the time to understand the Force and gain power with it, and they take the time, and it's all about sort of meditation and feeling it and this kind of thing. Whereas the Sith use the quick method.
The shortcut.
They use the anger and the rage to draw upon it. And so you get quick power or you get more power. Mm-hmm. But more power requires contemplation, meditation, understanding, calm, focus. So Luke, to become sort of the savior of the Force and to reawaken the Jedi sort of thing, he would have had to have achieved a certain level of just understanding of the universe and calm and focus and centeredness like Yoda did to be what he was. So for him to show up at the end like this broken down kind of guy, it didn't make any sense. It's like just completely turning into Swanzir and saying, oh, he was like Master Yoda, like he had this focus and this control and this understanding, and then you just kind of said, oh no, he's just this fucked up old man who is angry about what happened, and now and once again, those are diametrically opposed concepts. So.
I never got that. Like maybe it's me like misremembering stuff, but I never got the sense that he had fully mastered being a Jedi during the first trilogy. Like he was still kind of learning the ropes.
Well,
And
it made me
the
think-
only reason that he actually survived is because he actually talked Darth Vader into turning against the Emperor. And otherwise, like, Force lightning, both, like, he would have got
It's so Schnein, bro.
So,
Well, no,
the
don't
fact
get,
that
get me wrong. George Lucas didn't figure it out either. Once again,
I'm trying to figure out where this idea that he became like the greatest Jedi of all time, like, actually comes from. Like, where is that in the material that's presented?
I feel like there is the representation in the third movie that he didn't go to the dark side.
Yeah,
Right.
Understandable.
But this is the thing, that even in those movies, and I think this is a huge mistake, and everything that came after them, because nobody gets it, they never really, and this is throughout all of them, they never conceived of the fact that the quick path to power makes you stronger in the short term. Because like, if you and another guy or woman are Jedis, but you have the potential to be Jedis, and one takes the power of trying to learn how to channel their positive emotion, and one just goes right to quick power, anger, rage, whatever. Yes, in that short term, in the first year, the dark side is more powerful. He gets it quicker. But there's a limitation there. You can't focus as much, you can't create as much power. And so when you get 5 years down the line, that guy's kind of stuck. Like, he's not going to go beyond this point unless he learns better control, better focus. He understands his emotions better. He understands himself better.
Yeah.
He's going to hit a stopping point.
I buy all that.
Whereas this person is going to keep on growing. But you understand that. I'm representing it. Nobody who's written for Star Wars, even since George Lucas, ever understood that. And it's because philosophically, spiritually, they just don't get it. Like, they're all the dark side. They got the surface part of it, and that's all they understand. So all of this material that's come later, even the prequels with the stupid midi-chlorians, that's a clear representation that even George Lucas didn't understand what he accidentally represented as far as the Force. And everybody that's come past it has fucked it up even worse. Like, every time. They make the Sith as powerful as the Jedi, and they could not possibly ever be.
Right.
The Emperor could never be as powerful as, like, a master like Yoda. Yoda would have eaten the Emperor's lunch. There's just no way. But that's not the way they represented it, because they wanted him to be the big bad when they didn't need to. He could be the big bad just because he's secretive and he was representing political power, which is, you could be the strongest Jedi, but if you have to contend with an army, I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Right.
So they fucked it all up.
Well, some of this article, I think, is defending choices that
Wait a second.
were made.
Soapbox? Oh.
Yeah, wait. There's nine more things
There's
on
more.
this list.
Okay. That's always a big one for me. It's like the misrepresentation of Vulcans. That's always been one of my pet peeves in the nerdoverse.
Part of the issue I have is that this article is trying to defend the choices that were made rather than figure out what were better choices to make.
No, yeah.
And
most of the stuff they write on these nerd things is defense of these companies and these properties. And I absolutely don't agree with them. I agree with the people who are. I agree with the people who are angry about what they did in Game of Thrones. I agree with the nerds who think that all of these sort of women-centric Star Wars properties are pandering. I agree with the South Park crew. Yeah, put a chicken in, make her gay and lame. I absolutely agree with them on all of that stuff.
But some of this is not about that. Like,
No, I know it's not. But I just mean that most of the articles on these nerd sites are absolutely. They call it. Like, it's not mainstream media, but whatever they call it, the legacy media on the nerd sites. On like the super nerds call it legacy media. They get access by defending the companies that create garbage products.
Maybe, but I'm not actually seeing a lot of access either. Like, what are they getting? Set pictures?
They get the product early, like the whole. They get to review the entire series before it's actually put online and various stuff like that. But in order to get that access, you have to kowtow to the company and promote their products. So it's a lot of
I don't know the inner mechanisms of this stuff. It wouldn't be surprising to me though.
Yeah.
So the number 9 on here, a Sith Lord obsessed with immortality managed to resurrect himself. So this is basically
That's
saying...
so stupid. Yeah. They're saying that, they're saying that's the
like,
weirdest thing that happened.
Well, no, they're saying that people are upset that
the dead guy can resurrect
comes
himself?
back.
Yeah.
And, their defense of it is like, yeah, he was obsessed with immortality, so of course he's going to try to find a way to resurrect himself. I just think of it as lazy storytelling. Like, you're like,
that's the thing,
yeah. Sure, like, could I imagine that in the universe of Star Wars, the Emperor is trying to find a way to keep himself alive, through immortality? Sure. That doesn't mean that the third trilogy has to end with him as the big bad.
Yeah.
It just doesn't mean
it is. Well, and
the
better concept really is that somebody else who was his acolyte, for lack of a better word, they found a way to bring him back. Like he didn't. Like you don't bring yourself back from death. You're dead. But if somebody else who was an apostle, who's like he's God to me, I'm going to find a way to reincarnate him in some way.
And the comic books and the comics, the novels, the animated shows, there's a lot of instances of Jedis and Sith being trapped in a gem, or their minds being in this thing and being accessible.
Well, they have that
to come back.
They have that sort of ghost quality after they die, where they're like Force ghosts and stuff. Kind of dumb, but if that's there, and so you're essentially
there's a lot of dumb Force.
But once again, back to my earlier thing that we completely lost on the tape.
No, we didn't necessarily completely lose.
But I think being a Force ghost is only something that a Jedi who has mastered the good side of the Force could access. The Sith wouldn't have that ability because that goes beyond just the basic power that you get from your anger and rage. You would imagine you would need a greater understanding of the universe and that kind of thing to access some of these powers.
Yeah.
So once again, it's a lot of it's been badly considered.
I'm not sure if I
reboot.
Some of these are just dumb. Ki Adi Mundi's birthday changed. People get upset about that. Am I upset? Is that a thing? I started going on the web just to see, are people actually upset about this?
They bring it up a lot on the Acolyte that he's in the show, even though he wasn't supposed to be born at the time.
Yeah, but
what they're upset about is it shows that the showrunners and the writers are not paying attention to the timeline. They don't care about the lore. They're just putting whatever they want in there. They're like, hey, he's a character that people would recognize. Let's put him in this, even though he's not supposed to be alive at that time. It's sloppy, it's bad writing, and they just point to it as another example of the fact that these people do not give a crap about the lore.
According to this article, apparently where his age was confirmed was in the books, in the legend stuff.
Right.
Which is no longer canon. It's no longer part of the timeline.
Based on what?
That was a decision that Disney made when they first purchased this stuff. And they just said, that stuff's no longer canon so that we can go and do other stories.
That's one of the things that pisses the fans off.
I guess. Maybe because I haven't read any of these books and I don't really care who Ki Adi Mundi is.
No, I don't. I'm the same way. I don't necessarily care, but I appreciate that their frustration is this is just another example that Disney, number one, doesn't pay attention to the lore. And they don't, and they're retconning stuff just because that's easier for their writers who don't understand what a franchise is.
I guess the question I have is if you have so much lore,
that's the thing about these is you can taste the grapefruit.
Yeah.
It's okay. It works.
Is it all right?
Citrus works. Citrus works in beer.
I'm just not a big fan of grapefruit.
Yeah. No surprise. Yeah. Mister, I don't like strawberries.
I don't know if we need to go into more of these. Sabine Wren proved anyone could have the Force as George Lucas intended. Kylo Ren had the audacity to cry about killing his father. These are things. The Holdo maneuver had audiences in an uproar.
The Holdo maneuver? What is that?
That's the one where in the movie the woman actually turned the ship and went into light speed to destroy the other ship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was apparently called the Holdo maneuver.
That would destroy your own ship, though, too.
Well, she did it, and she knew she was going to destroy her own ship.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a suicide run.
Yeah.
At light speed. Yeah. You'll probably take out a planet with that.
Yeah, I just don't understand why, like, if that's even a thing, why wouldn't you just build a whole bunch of, like, empty cubes
kamikaze ships
with light drives on them and send them out?
Right.
Like that's what you would do.
You've already written a better story, yeah. In all honesty, that's the thing. What is it? Speed times mass.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of mass.
yeah. If you can get to light speed, right? Of course. You're gonna poke a hole in a planet. So,
Baby Yoda killed some frog babies.
That's probably what that gun was on the Death Star.
Maybe
it just was a particle accelerator.
Number 2, a girl was strong with the Force.
It depends on what the tachyon emitters were calibrated.
You like that video that I said?
Yeah, that was great.
That was perfect. I'll have to put that up somewhere. Yeah. I mean, it's basically just going into a bunch of like, and it's basically saying like, oh, I don't know why people are complaining about this stuff. I completely understand why some nerds would be upset about this stuff. I get it. Like, you know. If you think that they are messing with something you hold dear, then of course you're going to be upset about it, and you'll make yourself known. I just don't hold this stuff dear enough to even like worry about this.
Well, I think the complaint at the end of the day is the cash grab nature of it. Like, if you wanted a franchise that once again, anybody can buy a popular thing and then run it into the ground, try and make a few bucks.
Yeah.
But that's the cheap way to do it, and there's no longevity to it. If you wanted to buy a franchise like Marvel or Star Wars and you wanted to get the maximum return on it, you have to put out good products. That doesn't appear to be their feeling. They're just writing whatever bullshit they want and running it into the ground. And people who love it don't like seeing it run into the ground because they would like to have more and more and more of it. You know, we were all very excited when Marvel came out with good superhero movies. Yeah. We've been waiting for that for a long time. There's a lot of garbage out there, but those were good. But then they turned a corner and they just started being like, they'll just come to see, and once again, this is what the attitude appears to be, and that's what people get upset about. They'll come and see it. They're stupid and they don't know it. They have no taste anyway. We'll just put a costume on somebody and show some superpowers, and the idiot nerds will all plop their money down and show it. And that clearly is the attitude. And can you understand why they're a little offended?
Yeah, but it also, like, you see those horrible movies making $500 million, and you're like, okay, so what's the incentive to not do that? Like, maybe you don't put out that movie if it costs you $300 million to make that movie, you don't make any money. But if you can make a crappy movie for $100 million and it makes $500 million,
right,
that's a good return on investment.
Over the short term, because there is a ceiling to it. As you see, fewer people are going. They're not making $500 million. They're barely making $200 million, and it's a diminishing return is the term I'm thinking of. Because the first couple of times they do it, people don't know it's going to be crappy. They go to see it because they still want to see Ant-Man, but it's crappy. And then the Marvels is crappy, and then this is crappy, and then so by the third or fourth time they're like, oh, it's all going to be crappy now. I'm not going. And I'm a perfect example of that. I'm not going.
Yeah.
They put out whatever you want to. I don't care. I'll go see Deadpool and Wolverine because I feel like Ryan Reynolds has been putting up the good fight, not to kowtow to whatever their pandering is. But I don't know what the next. I'm not going to go see Fantastic Four. I'm not going to go see.
You won't see Fantastic Four.
Fuck no.
Really?
I could absolutely Pedro Pascal, Richard. I mean, come on, man.
I don't know, man.
And it
could end up being fantastic.
It's in some multiverse universe where it's like,
yeah, you never know. Could be fantastic.
It's like the Jetsons. I mean, what are we talking about here? You know what I mean?
It could be fantastic.
You let me know.
I will let you know.
Yeah, because I'm not interested in seeing it.
It's been like months since I've been to a movie.
That's the thing. I feel like you're kind of going down the same path much as you don't want to admit it. The only reason I want to see the Marvels is because Mariana insisted on it. I had absolutely no desire to see the Marvels. Yeah. So I went with her to see it, and I was looking at my watch about 40 minutes in, and like, how much longer is this garbage? I mean, they stole the plot line from frickin' Spaceballs. I mean, nobody mentioned it for the longest time, and I'm like, this is frickin' Spaceballs, man. Except it doesn't have the spaceship with the vacuum cleaner, but it's the same premise.
And it's not as good as Spaceballs.
It's not nearly as good as Spaceballs. And the whole Bollywood dance scene, I was just like, what is happening here?
Yeah, like again, we've talked about that. I didn't worry that much about the Bollywood dance scene. I was more disappointed with the fact that they, like, it all depended on them saving cats and, like, putting them all into this. Like,
there was nothing.
They had to save all of the people by having the cats eat them, and, like, I'm just like, this is
into their interdimensional stomachs or something. I was the same way with Black Panther 2 with Namor, and I'm like, oh, so Atlantis is over by South America now, or Mexico. I don't know. Yeah, okay. This European legend is now, multi-ethnic. That's fine, whatever, but I'm watching this stuff going, why am I even here? Why did I come to see this? I don't care.
Nerds, wrap it up.
Yeah.
I think it is time to wrap it up.
Man, that did rile me up. You did a fine job.
I knew that one.
You riled the heck up out of me.
I didn't even actually read through all of the list. Like, there was some bullshit.
Well, that was because you got tired. I think you like to rile me up.
I was like riled up. Like, we're riled up at number one.
I think you like to rile me up, and then you get tired of it, like, quickly. You're like, oh, I love to rile you up. Oh, but now that you're riled up, I want to stop. I can't stand that.
No, I know. It's not that, but it also took the sale. Like,
it does sound like something you would do.
It took a little bit of the wind out of my sails when I realized we missed part of the recording. I'm like, oh,
too bad.
Too bad.
And hopefully it's all on that though. So
yeah, if you give me the audio from that, then we'll put it on.
We'll see.
Hi, Mom. Alright, anyway, the Damon's spoken, so it is time for us to wrap it up. As always, I have been Patrick.
And I have been Doink.
The Dandy.